My kids are growing up so fast, and I'm just gushing over the family photo we took for Mother's Day last year. Why? Because the photo sits right on my work desk in a sleek black picture frame from FrameBridge. It perfectly accents the blue and white outfits we're wearing in the photo. FrameBridge makes it easy and affordable to custom frame just about anything. And looking at the other many photos in my phone, I can't wait to frame more memories. FrameBridge has a curated selection of frame styles and design experts to make it fun and easy to choose the perfect frame for your piece. Shipping is fast and free on orders over $100. Visit FrameBridge or your local FrameBridge store at 113 South 18th Street or order online at framebridge.com. It's the Friday News Roundup. We're talking about a violent week in the city, the long wait for SEPTA funding, and a state budget, erasing history down at Independence Mall, why FDR Park keeps flooding, and we're welcoming our newest CityCast Philly neighbors. It's Friday, August 1st. I'm Trenae Nuri, and here's what Philly's talking about. Joining me this week at the Filler Club is CityCast Philly executive producer Matt Katz. Hey, Matt.
What's up, Trenae?
We made it. Today
Yes.
is the very last day of our membership launch campaign. We've been telling you all about CityCast Philly neighbors, and it's been awesome seeing so many of you support what we're doing. Thank you.
Yeah, we get these little dings on our Slack every time someone becomes a new CityCast Philly neighbor, and it's so exciting for this tiny team to know that there are folks out there who appreciate what we're doing, who are listening to the shows that Trenae is putting out every day, who are reading the Hey Philly newsletter that Sienna Colon is writing every day. A theme we heard from many of you is that this show makes this city more livable, more like a neighborhood. And this is what you've been telling us when you become a neighbor. And we agree.
Yes.
The reason why we do what we do with shows like today's roundup of the week's local news is because we want you to feel in on the local conversation. And it's all an effort to make the city a better and more livable place. Can I read a comment from one of our listeners? Arindam wrote,
He's been on the show.
Yes,
Hey,
he said
Arindam.
that. He said, outside of wine podcasts, this is the only podcast I listen to. You are all awesome. And he name dropped Abby, our producer, Siani, myself, and of course, he wrote, of course, Trenae. Happy to be part of the club, he wrote. Thank you, Arindam. We are trying to make you part of this Philadelphia club and give you the tools and ideas and information you need to make this city what we want the city to be. We're trying to boost and enhance and amplify local news so people have the information from newsmakers like local politicians who you hear on the show all the time, from local journalists who are investigating what's going on in city government, and also from other people who are just out and about and know where to eat and drink and all that stuff. So all that just is an effort we are Philadelphians trying to make the most Philly show for you.
Yes. But to keep bringing you these awesome episodes every day, like today's Friday News Roundup and our daily Hey Philly newsletter, and all of the conversations we have about this city, we need your support right now. Can we get 10 more neighbors? I think we can. Becoming a CityCast Philly neighbor brings us together and makes this city a better place. You can join right now on this very last day of our launch campaign for $10 a month. I've been saying it's cheaper than a cheesesteak because it is. It is your last chance to snag that CityCast Neighbors tote. It's time. Do it now. Go to membership.citycast.fm. That's membership.citycast.fm. Thank you.
And for the neighbors who have already joined us, thank you so much. Can't wait to meet you at some of the neighbor events that we're going to be holding over the next several months.
Yes, and we're going to do some special shout outs later in the show. All right, let's talk about this violence in the city. This is one of those many things that continues to frustrate me, the continued violence, especially when it involves Philadelphia children and what they have to experience. This week, a 10-year-old boy, an 11-year-old girl, two teenage boys, 16 years old. One was in critical condition, one was in stable condition. They all were shot outside of the Christie Rec Center in West Philly on 56th and Christian Streets. There was an adult who also was wounded. The Inquirer reports that that adult was one of the workers at the rec center. Now, this shooting, according to Commissioner Kevin Bethel, happened right outside the rec center, very close to the public pool, I might add, and that there had been a fight and people involved in the fight came back to retaliate. The Inquirer reports that this is the third city shooting in less than a week with 4 or more victims that included children. I am tired of kids getting hurt, especially in places meant to keep them safe, spaces that allow them to be kids. And as parents, we say, hey, go to the city pool, go to the rec center, because you can be a kid. But you also are in this environment where there's so much violence. I hate reading these stories.
It's just in the afternoon. It's just inexplicable. And then it's not just the victims, it's all the other people and the children who were exposed to this, who experienced the shooting, who saw kids getting shot and the blood, and the ramifications are lifelong. And I wish I knew what the answer was. I would like to close out this discussion with some positive context. So I looked up the numbers today from the Philadelphia Police Department. 40 people have been killed this summer since the beginning of June. That is obviously 40 too many. It's kind of an unfathomable amount. However, homicides are down this year as of July 30th compared to the first 7 months of last year, and they're down by 13.5%. And that's something we should keep in mind. Shooting incidents are down 19%. In fact, all major violent crime numbers are down. Gun robberies are down 22%. And remember, last year we had a historic decrease in homicides compared to the year before that. So I know that every soul killed in this city is a tragedy, but I also want to give us some credit for moving in the right direction here. Can I just go through the last 5 years of numbers just so we have some perspective? 562 people in our city were killed in 2021, a horrible year. This is the pandemic, just incredible amount of violence. That number went down to 516 in 2022, 410 in 2023, 269 last year. And this year we are on pace to go lower than that. And we might end up having the lowest murder rate this year than we've had in decades. So we shouldn't just throw our hands up and say, this is Philadelphia and it's just violence and it keeps getting worse and worse, because it's not. And there are many people in the city who are working to make it as safe as possible every day. And there are some positive trend lines that we shouldn't necessarily celebrate just yet, but acknowledge.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough. I mean, yes, we do see the numbers going down, but then there's that aspect where people still experiencing it, families still experiencing it. You have to explain to children, like, what you should do if if you're in that position. Those are tough conversations. And then, you're thinking about your kids during the day, like when you're at work and you're like, oh my God, are they safe? Like, it's a million things that, roll in your head.
And the violence is still hitting neighborhoods that have experienced violence for decades, for generations, and it's still isolated in certain neighborhoods. So the pain is not evenly distributed across the city, so it can sometimes be forgotten.
Yeah. All right, Matt, what is going on down at Independence Mall?
It's amazing. There's so much going on in national politics, and we are something of an antidote to that at CityCast Philly, where we're telling you about what's going on locally. But time and again, the Trump administration's impact on the city is just so apparent. So I read a story last week in the New York Times that the Trump administration is looking to get rid of exhibits at national historic sites that maybe don't show the U.S. in a positive light. So exhibits at our Independence National Historic Park, the part of Old City where the Liberty Bell, Independence Hall is, they are trying to get rid of references to slavery at the Independence National Historic Park.
I'm rolling my eyes right now.
This is all part of the MAGA philosophy that we need to talk about the greatness of this country and the history of this country and not bring up, this major piece of American history and the founding of America, which is that people were enslaved for 250 years here.
So what do they think happened in the early beginnings?
They acknowledge that this happened, but they just don't think it's something that should be highlighted at historic sites. And instead, we should exalt these people and not mention that the first president of the country was a slave owner. So to give you some specifics here, this week, the Inquirer got some anonymous park rangers to give them more information about how this is going down. And just when I thought I couldn't be more flabbergasted, here we go. An exhibit at the President's House where George Washington and John Adams once lived, right there at Market and 6th, across from the Jewish Museum. A display there has been flagged because it refers to slaves being whipped, deprived of food, clothing, and shelter, and being beaten, tortured, and raped, which is true. This is historical fact, but it's been flagged as something that should be removed.
The wording.
That whole thing, that whole reference to it. An exhibit about Washington signing the Fugitive Slave Act, about George Washington signing the Fugitive Slave Act, which required slaves to be returned to their owners, even if they were in a free state. That is an exhibit that has been flagged for possible removal. An interactive display at the Ben Franklin Museum has been flagged for possible removal because it doesn't emphasize enough that Franklin had an evolving opinion on slavery, because eventually he did oppose it and supported abolition. So Governor Shapiro, who has often held his fire against Trump, he's not necessarily been the most vocal Democrat against President Trump. He tweeted about all this week. He wrote, "Protecting our history is about telling the truth, even when it's uncomfortable, because if we don't reckon with the reality of our past, we can't learn from it and move forward." So I thought that was gets to the heart of it. I mean, the legal backing of this is an executive order, and the way it's going to work is we expect an announcement on what exactly will be removed from these exhibits in less than 3 weeks. And then, quote, all inappropriate content is supposed to be permanently removed by September 17th. And of course, the big backdrop of this.
I was just about to say it. America's birthday next
Exactly
year.
Right. So I guess visitors to Philadelphia for the 250th anniversary of the founding of the U.S. will be deprived of the full scope of what was involved in the founding of America 250 years ago.
Well, I will have to say, though, around the corner is the National Museum of American Jewish History, and around the other corner is the African American Museum in Philadelphia. We also have the National Constitution Center. So I hope that the other institutions have a way to
compensate for the lack of information,
the stories of the folks that are going to get removed from these exhibits. Mm-hmm. How interesting.
Well, we don't know if it'll definitely happen. They've been flagged for possible removal.
Okay.
But it does smack of cancel culture, doesn't it? A thing that Trump hates. Some irony there. Canceling our history.
Talking about irony, the final statue design was revealed this week for the Sadie T.M. Alexander statue.
Yeah, so while we're maybe getting rid of some African-American history in our city, we are
still celebrating African-American history. Sadie Alexander was the first African American to earn a PhD in economics and the first Black woman to graduate from Penn Law. So there had been months of deliberations about what the design was going to be. There were like 5 finalists. This is coming out from the city's Public Arts Selection Committee. So Sadie's statue is expected to be completed in the fall of 2026, and it will be the 3rd statue to depict a Black woman in the city. We're getting a sculpture depicting Harriet Tubman, who was an abolitionist, and Blanche Nixon, who I read was a lifelong Philadelphia resident from Cobbs Creek.
Cool.
In West Philly. We've got more news after the break. Hey, it's your host, Trenae Nuri, popping in to tell you about our CityCast Philly Neighbors, our brand new membership program. We're calling it CityCast Neighbors because we've learned that people who listen to CityCast Philly are people who care deeply about this city and want to make it better. They're just the kind of neighbors the city needs. It comes with some pretty sweet benefits. CityCast Philly Neighbors gain access to ad-free podcast listening and a weekly email rounding up our best picks for what to do in Philly. Plus, we're hosting neighbors-only events like happy hours, local volunteering meetups, and other events where we explore and try to make our city better together. And you get to be a part of the local conversation by shouting out a local business or a nonprofit that you love on the show in the Hey Philly newsletter. For $10 a month, you can become a CityCast Philly neighbor today by going to membership.citycast.fm. That's membership.citycast.fm. We couldn't make this show without people like you supporting it, and we're so excited for you to be a part of it. Thanks.
As a sports fan, I have to confess. Sometimes the game gets kind of boring. That's when I unfold my Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7 and use multi-window viewing on its large screen. Boring game? I'm checking out my fantasy baseball league at the same time. Score still 1-0? I'm replying to emails in the other window, scoring points with the boss. Semifinals finally getting exciting? I'm buying tickets to the finals and booking my flights. Can your phone do that?
The new Galaxy Z Fold 7. Get yours at Samsung.com.
So y'all, we've been saying this. This is the last day of our membership campaign, and I want to tell you about a perk you may have forgotten in all of this talk about the CityCast Philly tote that you'll get when you become a neighbor. When you become a CityCast Philly neighbor, you get invited to our regular member-only events.
Mm-hmm.
We're really excited to do member events because as local media, it's a way for us to connect with you in a different way than maybe the New York Times can connect with you. We're not going to play Wordle. But we love doing things that help you and us explore our city more. I did confess in yesterday's show that there are still things and places in the city I have yet to explore yet, but I'm working on it. So we have so many ideas for different like volunteering meetups and walking history tours and maybe a cleanup, or y'all want to do some happy hours and karaoke. And Abby had a great suggestion, line dancing, which I'm always down to do. We are always looking for deeper ways to, engage with our neighbors and engage in Philly. And that's why we've designed CityCast Philly Neighbors with that goal in mind. So to get access to member-only events, sign up right now to become a CityCast Philly neighbor at membership.citycast.fm. Do it now. Don't wait till tomorrow. Do it now. Plus, you're going to get that tote. You can use it at the grocery store or any of the night markets. That is at membership.citycast.fm. Okay, this is what you guys have been waiting on. These shout outs to our newest neighbors. Thanks to Micah, Christine, Amy, Arindam, Peter, E, Laurie, Kyle, Claire, Megan, Daniel, Jenna, and Mandy. We just got Troy. Troy is now a neighbor. Look at that.
Breaking news.
Pew, 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 pew. Hey, Troy.
I love the notes that people leave for us. They leave us little love notes when they become neighbors. And Micah wrote to us and said, with all the intentional chaos and distraction, CityCast Philly has been a grounding local news source. Trenae Nuri has been a welcome voice in our busy mornings before heading off to work. Thank you for all you do to keep us informed.
Oh,
Thanks, Micah. Appreciate it.
yes. Become a member right now. Join the squad. Membership.citycast.fm. So remember in yesterday's episode, we were talking about things to do in the city. FDR Park is such a beautiful place for people to explore.
I was talking about the new boats that they have down there that are shaped like great blue herons. And I was excited to go down there. And then I read this article in Billy Penn about the flooding that's been happening at FDR Park. And I know I'm very familiar with this because I'm there a lot because my son plays baseball there. So the way FDR Park works, it's like one big roadway loop. So and then you can stop at the fields, you can stop at the Southeast Asian food market and whatnot. But at the bottom of the loop, like in the southern end of the park, there's a spot that is always flooded. Like I'll turn to my son. I'm like, has it rained in the last 2 weeks? He'll be like, nope. And yet there's a massive, it's not even a puddle. It's like a little lake. So if you're driving, you have two options: to drive through it and hope it's not super deep, or go into the parking lot of that skate park that's down there under the highway. And you go into the parking lot of the skate park, which is just littered with potholes. It's like the potholiest place in the city, and kind of bump through that and get around the water. And I always assumed this was a temporary problem because there's a massive transformation going on down there. There's a $250 million project to refurbish the park, which is really a jewel of the city. And I figured that fixing the flooding would be part of that plan. But according to Billy Penn, it is not. Groups down there are trying to agitate for a solution to this sometime soon, but the water is apparently stormwater runoff from I-95 and from Broad Street and from Patterson Avenue, and it's all just like ending up there, puddling up there. And I hope they find a solution, and I hope it happens before my car breaks down trying to navigate around this this little lake.
So we'll be waiting to see if there's a fix for that flooding. Another thing we're waiting on is the state budget still.
Yep.
It's August 1st.
Mm-hmm.
We still don't have a budget.
It's outrageous. It was due July 1st. Its legislators' primary constitutional obligation is to approve a spending plan. We already sent them our money. They have our money. They tax us. And now they have to vote on how to spend that money. And we hope they vote to fund SEPTA, which is going to cut service by almost half unless we get more than $200 million from the legislature at some point, sometime very, very soon. Kids are going back to school in a few weeks. This is how kids in Philly get to school, via buses and trains.
Truly.
So we still don't have a budget, and we don't really know what's going on. We spoke to Representative Morgan Cephas this week, and she said Republicans are just not in Harrisburg to do the work to get this done. I mean, where this is in the process is that the Pennsylvania House, which is controlled by Democrats, they approved the budget back in June. The state Senate, the other legislative chamber, narrowly controlled by Republicans, they have not voted on this thing yet. They don't want to, many Republicans don't want to send any more money to SEPTA. Many Republicans are concerned about the price tag overall of this budget.
The spending, right?
The overall spending. But I just don't see a lot of work being done. Senator Joe Pittman is the majority leader of the Senate. He's a Republican, and he tweeted a picture of him this week working. It looked like he was working in Harrisburg, and he said, "We have different visions for the future of the Commonwealth, but we're working together across the aisle to move this budget forward, regardless of divided government or political philosophy. Some of these issues are just extraordinarily complex and need to be done correctly." I saw that. I'm like, okay. I mean,
it's interesting though, because like the more elected officials we've talked to, they really just broke it down very easily for me.
Right,
Like,
it doesn't seem that complex. And that's why State Rep Ben Waxman, Democrat from Philly, he replied to the senator and he wrote, "Respectfully, some of these issues are not that complex. SEPTA and the other transit agencies need money or they face massive cuts. And we've had a year to work on this since the last budget. It's time for Republicans in the Senate to stop stalling and make a budget deal."
And I did ask Steve, I said, now, was this fair? Was this a fair criticism of like having concerns about how we're spending the state funds? She said no, and that SEPTA had addressed some of the concerns, like fare evasion, like violence on buses and trains and all sorts of things. So what is complex, right? Like I maybe
the complex
we should
is where the
out,
money, they want to attach some funding mechanism. So where's the money going to come from to pay for SEPTA? But the proposals that have been out there and haven't really gone anywhere is legalizing cannabis and maybe collecting hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars a year in tax revenue because of it. Regulating and taxing these like skill games, those video games at like the gas station and the bodegas. But they haven't come to an agreement on that. And I just don't know if people realize the dramatic effects that this is going to have very imminently. I mean, there are some signs up at SEPTA stops telling people that this bus line is going to be cut in the coming weeks. But we're not really seeing protests in the streets, and it's unclear like even where the pressure points are. State Rep Rick Krajewski, who's a Democrat from West Philly, he's trying to put the focus on 3 local Republican state senators. So there's 3 Republican senators from Philly and the burbs that are supportive of SEPTA because their constituents rely on it. And the majority in the Republican-controlled Senate is so slim that these 3 senators have a lot of power. They can swing a vote on this budget, right? So Krajewski filmed a video this week where he posted the pictures and the phone numbers of these Republican state senators to try to tell people, hey, call these folks, tell them we need to fund SEPTA. Here's a little bit of what Krajewski said.
There are 3 Senate Republicans who represent SEPTA. We need them to talk to their Republican leadership and to tell them to stop the delay and pass a budget bill that funds public transit by August 24th. If you're one of the constituents or a transit rider who just cares deeply about mass transit, we need you to make your voice heard. Public transportation is an essential part of our daily lives. It brings communities together and it forms the backbone of our local economy. We can save SEPTA, PRT, and all of the transit agencies across the state. But it's going to take all of us coming together to make it happen. Take action today to save mass transit.
And while we wait for a budget through all these negotiations, the state is not sending money for nonprofits and school districts in the state.
$2.5 billion is held up right now because we don't have a constitutionally approved budget.
We'll have more news after the break.
Gatorade is the #1 proven electrolyte blend designed to hydrate better than water. So you can lose more sweat and raise your game. Gatorade, is it in you?
Hey, Fidelity. How can I remember to invest every month?
With the Fidelity app, you can choose a schedule and set up recurring investments in stocks and ETFs.
Oh, that sounds easier than I thought.
You got this.
Yeah, I do. Now, where did I put my keys?
You will find them where you left them.
Investing involves risk, including risk of loss. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
It is the weekend.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
So I saw 2, not 1, but 2 cake-related events And I'm going to try to get my daughter to go with me to one of them, at least, because she loves cake. Everybody loves cake.
Everyone loves cake.
Sunday at noon at Penn Treaty Park, the Let Me Know Club is having a cake picnic. So the deal is you bring your favorite cake, either homemade or store-bought, and you like cut some slices and share it around, hang out. It's kind of fun, right?
That's different. Yeah.
And then at 5 on Sunday, I mean, you could really just stuff your face with cake on Sunday in Philadelphia if you want to.
The sugar high.
At 5 on Sundays, this is a few hours later, over at Love City Brewing, there's a cake decorating class where they give you a pre-made cake to decorate, and they show you how to do all the, the piping and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And that's $45. Info on both of those events is in our Hey Philly newsletter. Maybe my daughter and I will see you out there.
Very cool. Very cool.
What are you doing?
It's the first of the month, so rent is due. But if you've got a little more to spare, First Fridays, we have an episode about, how do you do First Fridays in Philly? But the Skate Gang is out. This is a group of skaters that is meeting up each and every Friday. You bring your own skates. If you think that you are not stable enough to balance yourself on these skates, bring some safety gear. This is a family-friendly, all ages are welcomed. There's going to be music and vibes, and you get to skate over in Parkside. 5290 Parkside Avenue is the location. There's going to be merch and smoothies available for purchase.
Ooh.
So come on outside and skate, y'all. And then I'm going to put the skates down and head over to the Kimmel on Friday night because the Black Star Film Festival is happening this week and into the weekend. A friend of mine, we are going to go to see Black News Terms and Conditions. I talked about it yesterday on our August events guide. That show is going to be at the Perlman Theater at the Kimmel, 9 p.m. It was $20. Or you can get passes to the film festival to see a whole bunch of films. So I'm excited.
I saw there's also a documentary on Sun Ra. That's on Saturday afternoon at the Wilma. So all kinds of stuff going on. Check out blackstarfest.org.
But before we roll out, we have some more member shout outs.
Yes.
So if you're looking for more stuff, some of our CityCast Philly neighbors have these suggestions.
Yeah, that's one of the perks in becoming a neighbor is that you can tell us what local business or group you want us to shout out on the show.
Mark says go down to McMenamin's Tavern in Mount Airy for some awesome food, great beer, fabulous staff. Wings are the best anywhere.
We should go there sometime.
I know. Mark said wings. I gotta go.
My stomach grumbled.
Deborah says, check out the Encore Choral of Philadelphia. It is a non-audition choral group for adults 55 plus who rehearse on Tuesdays at 1 p.m. at the First Presbyterian Church on Walnut and 21st Streets. We sing selections from the American Songbook, Broadway show music, classical, opera, and secular or religious holiday music. 2 free public concerts are held each year. Registration is open for the fall semester that begins in Philly on August 24th.
Cool.
Very cool.
Eden recommends 2 meetups that involve getting outside and hanging out with people from the area and organized by just regular individuals. One is called Explore and More Philly. It's a skiing, snowboarding, and adventure group. And the other is called It's Better Outdoors. And it's for anyone who loves to have an adventure outside and wants to do it with other people. It's for folks who are between the ages of 21 and 60 who like to hike, camp, raft, ski, travel, all kinds of
the
those
outdoor
sorts of
stuff.
activities.
Yeah. Aaron says, check out Mercy Neighborhood Ministries, which provides intergenerational education and economic development programming in Nicetown, Tioga.
Mercy Neighborhood Ministries. Great.
Okay, here's what Steph says. Steph says, hey, Philly, meet Bo Zhao, founder of Baby Gear Group, a lending library of baby gear, saving families time, money, and helping the planet. Mandy says, shout out to the East Falls Community Fridge on Midville Avenue in East Falls, located in the entryway of Vault and Vine Plant Store. Y'all know that is like one of my favorite coffee shops in the city. Come donate and grab some food if you are in need. There are guidelines for the donation, so you can check out eastfallscommunityfridge.wordpress.com. And Matthew is giving a shout out to Bud's Barbershop at 16th and Rittner. They do great haircuts and the vibes are immaculate. This is it, y'all. The final pitch. You've heard us talk about it all week. So what are you waiting for? Head over to membership.citycast.fm to give this show some love and become a founding neighbor. It's $10 a month, and you get a custom CityCast Philly tote, exclusive benefits like invites to member-only events, hang out with me, Matt, Abby, and Siani, the chance to give a local business a shout-out, show some love, and you're supporting something truly unique in our city. Head to membership.citycast.fm. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, y'all.
Bye. That's all for today here on CityCast Philly. Our executive producer is Matt Katz. Our producer is Abby Fritz. And our Hey Philly newsletter editor is Siani Colon. And our host is me, Trenae Nuri. Music is by Philly's own Interminable, with additional music from all the Kimonos. If you enjoyed this week of episodes, share it in the group chat, rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our morning newsletter, Hey Philly. We'll be back Monday morning with more news from around the city. Have a great weekend, y'all, and be safe. Bye.